so much for coming to our picnic on the Fringe. It's becoming a bit of an institution.
So
now.
I hear.
Yeah. Have you seen some of the videos?
I've seen some snippets. Are you testing me now?
There will be an exam at the end.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. But
this is lovely.
I mean, you did refuse a biscuit, but that's okay. Do you not eat biscuits at all?
I don't really eat biscuits. No, I kind of I sort of stay away from biscuits and sweets and carbs and stuff. I'm a bit anal like that.
Is that Atkins or a variation?
No, it's just the Zerdin diet. And,
you should market it.
And it works for me, really. I mean, occasionally if I've had too much to drink and it's late night, I get back and I raid the fridge.
But not biscuit.
But I try not to eat biscuits, no.
So you're back here on the Fringe.
Yes.
Are you here like just every year?
No.
No?
This is only my 4th Edinburgh.
Really?
Yeah, my first one was at the Gilded Balloon in about 2000, and then I did one then the next one wasn't until 2009, which I did a show called Sponge Fest, which was at the Underbelly.
Yeah.
And then I came back and did kind of by popular demand, which meant I could do the same show again for half the run the year after. And now this is my fourth. This is my 4th time, so that was about 3 years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think every time I've been, you've been here, so I just assume that you've...
Yeah, no, I haven't done it as much as maybe people think I have.
People think,
and I think that's kind of good in a way, because I think there's a lot of people that, obviously, you build up a following, you build up a name, and if you keep coming back year after year, but I find that really hard, especially if you're putting together a new show, which I've come back with a new show. It takes me a bit longer, really, and I think because of the nature of it, it's not just straightforward stand-up. It's a bit more intricate.
I think that's the thing. It's a big challenge to come up with a completely different set. Yeah. So do you think a different kind of set of rules applies to you? Like they don't expect you to come back with a new show every year?
I think if you did come back every year, they would expect a new show, but I'm not sure I could do that every year. Although having said that, I'm thinking about already doing another one for next year.
Completely.
Another new show, yeah. And I've got my finale for the show this year. I'm thinking I'm really pleased with it now. It's going really well. It takes time for things to bed in, and especially when you see a show at the beginning of the run and then you go back and see it at the end. You'll see quite a lot of changes, and everything will have slotted into place and things evolve. But I'm already thinking how I can top my current finale. And at the moment I can't think of anything, but I'll have to if I'm going to do it again next year. But that's good though, because if you then go right, well I'm definitely going to do it next year. It gives you a year or a bit less to kind of go right. I've got to get my arse into gear and come up with something.
It gives you a target.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's taken me a year and a half to get this show right.
How is it? Because you are a complete YouTube sensation in many ways. I think
I'm a sensation.
Well, you are. I mean, people all around the world probably will know your face. How is it coming up to the Fringe? It's kind of maybe
it's very difficult. I can't go anywhere. I can't go shopping or anything. I have to have a reminder with me.
I suppose it's like a double, because people know you maybe for that one routine that you do on YouTube, and then you've got this show that you come up to Edinburgh with. Is it a slightly odd dynamic?
No, it's great actually, and it does help sell tickets. And as a result of YouTube, I get to work all over the place. I mean, I get booked for private functions, and there's big business in private functions, the corporate market, which I've always done. But thanks to the explosion of YouTube, it's opened it up. So you go literally everywhere. I mean, I flew last year. The company flew me to Argentina. Literally, I flew 30 hours. I was there for a night. I flew in, 15 hours. Flew in. Did 15 minutes after dinner, me and an opera singer, and then I flew home the next morning.
It's just amazing.
To Buenos Aires, that was it. Buenos Aires and back. I do gigs in Hong Kong, I do gigs in Vegas, I do gigs all over, and that's definitely thanks to YouTube, so I'm very grateful. There is a thing, I mean, my routine with the human dummy, that's the clip that everyone seems to see and seems to know.
And people expect that when they come and see you?
They do expect that when I'm booked for a private function. When they come and see the live show, I've got a new version of it, which is the big finale for this year, where I'll get a man and a woman up and then I leave them on their own, when I'm still controlling them. And I shan't say any more than that. You have to come and see the show, 8 o'clock, nightclub, Gilded Balloon. It's a reworking of it, but it's a much better version. It's kind of like I've upped the ante on it now, and it opens it up, and there's so much more that can be done with it. I mean, you could do a whole show because it's dependent on people from the audience, and that, you know, their reactions are different all the time, and it keeps me on my toes because I have to kind of improvise and think quick.
Every time I've seen that routine, it's amazing. But is there any times where they're not working with you and it's perhaps more challenging? And
that's happened occasionally. There was a time when I was doing a private function, and what happens is I say to the you know, people in charge of the company, I'll say, is there anyone you want to nominate for me to pick on and get them out of the audience? And they'll go, oh yeah, Derek, he's our MD or our assistant MD, he'll be really game for a laugh. And I know when they say he'll be really game for a laugh, chances are they won't be, but I'll carry out my orders, you know, and I'll do whatever they want me to do. But there's been a few times where they've been standing there going along with it, and all they have to do is stand there while I'm operating the mouth, and you can just see their eyes. They just want you to die, and they want to die. And there's been a few times where it's been a little bit, you know, I'm sure there's been some cross words after the gig, after I've fled into the night with my money. But generally it's all right. I do remember at the Comedy Store in Manchester a few years ago, I got someone up on stage for that routine, and he was just too drunk, and I didn't realise until it was too late. And he took it off halfway through, and he threw it at me, and the whole audience booed him. And he walked to downstage, walked to the front of the stage, and went, "Yeah, come on!" And he was trying to take on the whole of the Comedy Store, and it was just hilarious. And I went, "I think you better put this back on." So he put it back on. We carried on, and so it was funny, and the whole audience just turned against him. And I think because he was drunk, he kind of then went a bit paranoid and decided that they were all laughing at him and not with him. Because you know, I'm not taking the mickey out of them really. It's just we're just having a laugh.
I can imagine it would be surreal if you were drunk, though.
Yeah,
to have
absolutely.
This, yeah,
and I think that was the problem. And it's my fault. I shouldn't have picked him.
I've seen more ventriloquists do that now, though.
A lot of people seem to be doing it. Yeah.
Is that do you feel that's as a result of what you've done?
Well, I did it on the Royal Variety a few years ago, and then on the Comedy Rock show, which is the one that's kind of gone viral. And then some other ventriloquists have decided that they would do it as well. And I think it's actually an old idea. There was a guy in the 50s or the 60s, a ventriloquist called Dennis Spicer, who was fantastic. And he sadly died. He did the most amazing spot on the Royal Variety show in 1964-65. He had a corgi puppet and did a whole routine about the Queen. And he had what did he have? He had a monkey puppet, and he had a little dummy, tiny little dummy that kept on sitting on the chair. He kept going back to talking to him, and then right at the very end he whistled, and the dummy came running off. And it was Kenny Baker, the dwarf, dressed up as a dummy all the way through. It was a fantastic spot.
Yeah.
And he also, on other TV spots, got a man and a woman out of the audience and made them talk by touching their shoulder and getting them to open their mouths or squeezing the back of their neck, and them doing that, and then him voicing them.
But not with an actual piece.
Not with a mask, but there's been people, you know, I remember seeing it at a convention in America where they were selling something similar, and I saw it and thought, oh, that's great, but you just pulled a little string and the mouth came down. I thought, oh, well, I think we can improve on that.
How is it with ventriloquism? Is it kind of shared ideas and
stolen ideas,
or is it? Well, because there are certain professions that are very protective over ideas and things, and others that are more about sharing and everything's everyone's. How's ventriloquism?
Well, you know, with ventriloquism, and same with any kind of writing comedy, you know, you're going to come across the same ideas at some point. You're going to think of similar things, and particularly with ventriloquism, if you're doing an act with a puppet, and you're going to be doing some sort of self-deprecating humour, whatever, then you are going to come across the same kinds of jokes. There are going to be the same lines. You're going to think of the same sort of thing. It's just the way everyone's thinking the same kind of thing.
Because you're focused on this puppet.
Yeah. But you don't have to be a ventriloquist with a puppet. You can do, you know, I'm doing stand-up in the show about being a ventriloquist, still using the technique, but talking about winding. I did a hidden camera show a few years ago, and so we were winding people up, making think that there was a kid trapped in a bottle bank, and I had to draw the public in and get them to have a chat and see if we could have a conversation with this invisible kid in a bottle bank. And I talk about things like that, and also, you know, going into lifts, like everywhere, everything talks now. You have the sat nav, you have the iPhone, the Siri, all those kind of things talk. Everything talks at you, and I like to go into like a lift. You have talking lifts, so I like to go into a lift that doesn't talk, and then pretend it does talk. So you can do that going up, you know, do all the voices, and so winding people up, and that kind of came from an idea of doing the hidden camera show, and then I've sort of carried it on really. So you don't have to have a puppet to be a ventriloquist, and that's what I think makes it different. So the spot in the show where I get the man and the woman out and I leave them on their own, that's totally evolved. And that's totally original to me, you know, and the routine. So if I see someone else doing it, and I know, you know, and I see them doing similar jokes, then yes, that's theft. But I mean, if I can't stop someone doing that routine, but if they do the same idea and the same jokes, then you know, you kind of think, oh, come on, you've obviously run out of ideas. You need to think of your own stuff, really, or get some writers on board to help you. But there's nothing you can do, and that's the great thing about YouTube, is that you know, everything is accessible. But then also the bad side of it is that, you know, people are stealing your ideas. I mean, I saw someone sent me a clip on Twitter, actually, or Facebook, sent me a clip of a guy who had absolutely lifted my original mask routine from Comedy Rocks, literally word for word. He'd absolutely just learnt it parrot fashion, and I saw it, and he had these big banners either side of his stage with his name and his phone number on it. So I took down the phone number, and I was going to call him and go, hello, this is Paul Zerdin, how's my act doing? And I actually thought, well, what's the point? You know, I've got a new act now, so you know, it's a compliment in a way, but it's
tough to see, though.
It's a bit cheeky, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, just say about your show again. It's at the Gilded Balloon
at the nightclub at 8 o'clock every night.
Every single night.
Every night until the 25th of, what is it? 25th of August.
Yes.
It finishes on the 25th of August. I'm not on the 12th. That's my day off.
Okay.
I'm having a night off. I'm going for dinner. But apart from that, I'm there every night, 8 o'clock.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
And yeah, hope to see you again.
Yes, but not here though, because it's bloody freezing.
It's cold.